everyone, my name is Clay, and welcome to the first episode of Plot Hooks here on Terminally Nerdy. This is a new series I came up with. The idea behind this is to give new GMs, new DMs, and even some experienced, I would assume, a plot hook, a way to expand upon that plot hook as well, so that way they may have, or you may have, a way to start a new adventure. Sometimes the hardest part about creating new adventures and new things like that is that starting point. Sometimes you're like, okay, I want to create an adventure, what do I do? So that's what this series is. I'll be trolling Twitter for plot hooks and things, all that good stuff. If I take a plot hook from Twitter, by the way, one of you guys who sees this from Twitter, I will attribute it to you. I will link your Twitter and all that stuff, so not necessarily the actual tweet, because I find these randomly, so. Well, without further ado, let's get right into our first plot hook, which is as follows. I've dubbed it the Terror of Valindale, and the concept is as follows. A child has a town completely under their control, and no one will tell the party why. Now that's a pretty basic idea. You have a child, you have a small town, we'll call it Valindale, and this kid has complete control. They tell an adult to do something, the adult does it. No control over themselves. The adults cannot tell the party what is going on. This is a similar concept to an episode of like The Twilight Zone. I can't remember what the episode was called, but there was a kid who basically the entire town had to keep happy. Similar kind of concept. Now, what you can take from this and how you can expand upon this very simple concept is really in the why and how they deal with it. So it could be as simple as this child is subconsciously exerting psychic influence or magical influence. They might be an untapped talent, a sorcerer even. Nobody realizes it, and they are subconsciously influencing the entire town. The town can't tell the party why, because the town literally has no idea why they're doing it. But when the kid wants something, the town feels compelled to do it. They don't have a control over themselves. They're being mentally controlled by it. You might say, well, that seems kind of weird, but remember, in most fantasy RPGs, and in most role-playing games in general, the parties, or the player characters, aren't really, they're not the norm. They are above the norm. I mean, in D&D, for example, standard humans are 10s. No bonuses or negatives. It's very rare for a standard human commoner to go higher than a 10 in one of their stats. Players, they get to reroll if they don't have straight 13s. Players are clearly of a different level than a standard human being. Now, if you don't want to go with that idea, like this sorceress talent who the kid's not even aware that they're doing it, you could go, say, with a curse. A witch came through and cursed the town to obey the whims of this kid. Again, the kid's not in control of it, but now they're having to deal with like this weird curse. The town just has to do what the kid says. In this case, the town knows what's happening, but the curse prevents them from explaining it. How you go from there to how the party figures it out, it could be anything from like detect magic, zone of truth, any number of things. They could detect the residual effects of it. They could get affected by it just by walking in, and thus know something's up the instant they walk in. Any number of those sort of things. Another common idea for this is a changeling. The kid's been switched with a fae. And this fae kid, the one that's now in town, is completely aware of what it's doing, and is doing it maliciously. That is also a common theme, fae messing with people. It could also be a demon. You could go with the classic demon is now in control. How any of these play out is really up to you. If it's, for example, the sorceress origin, maybe the players recognize, maybe if one of them's a wizard or a sorcerer, or a bard, anything like that, the player could then recognize that, oh, that's kind of what happened when I awoke. Like, instead of mental manipulation, though, I caused fires. Because remember, sorcerers just awaken. And then they could try to take the kid in, get him to a training academy or something, and help everybody get around it. If it's a fae creature, assuming they recognize that it's a fae creature through whatever means, maybe the kid tries to control a party member and fails. Because remember, mental intrusion, players usually will know if they make a will save, they'll recognize that something tried to break into their head. Maybe that's enough of a trigger to start a fight. They have to fight off the fake creature, and then they go rescue the original kid. If it's a demon, maybe there was never a child. It just got summoned and fucked with everything. And you see, that very simple concept suddenly starts expanding and expanding and expanding. Now, how would you expand on this concept? I'd like to hear it. Leave a comment in the box below on how you would expand on the idea of a child being in complete control of a town. I'd love to hear it. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button. If you don't like it, feel free to hit the dislike button. Feel free to subscribe if you want more videos. More plot hooks are on the way. All that. Feel free to support my Patreon to get early access to these videos. Link in the description box below. And as always, folks, thanks for watching, and remember, stay nerdy!